Hello and welcome into the very first episode of Smooth Operators broadcast live on WEGL 91.1 FM's YouTube channel. My name's Noah Phillips and I'm coming to you live from Panama City Beach. The man to my left, that's it, I meant to forget this is inverted, is Griggs Blankenberg. He's coming to you live from Charlotte, North Carolina. And the man on my right is Ben McClurkin coming to you live from he actually broke into Italy. These are sketches of the next Ferrari, folks. You better take your pictures while they're here. Guys, how are you doing?
Break down everything. Oh,
Typically, my technical analysis is pretty good, but this is the most in-depth thing I've ever seen.
In depth.
In depth.
In depth.
Yes. You know what in-depth means? Do you business majors know what in-depth means?
Oh, okay.
No, we do not. If it doesn't have anything to do with coloring, we don't know what it is.
But yes, we are glad to be back. SMOP for the summer. This is what our goal has been all semester long. We wanted to keep it going for when the majority of races were for this summer. So we're happy to be here. Griggs Blankenberg, Noah Phillips, and Ben McClurkin back again. I say we just get right into it, boys.
Let's get right into it.
Sounds good.
All right, let's get right into it. So last Sunday, so a week from today, was the Miami Grand Prix. That, of course, went to Mr. Max Verstappen, starting in ninth position, getting all the way up into first, scoring 26 points for Red Bull with a time of 1 hour, 27 minutes, 38 seconds, and some extra digits, followed by Sergio Perez, 5 seconds behind him, 127.43. And then 26 seconds behind Max Verstappen was the third place Fernando Alonso with 26 seconds behind him, finishing third for the Aston Martin. George Russell was in fourth, Carlos Sainz fifth, Lewis Hamilton sixth, Charles Leclerc in seventh, Pierre Gasly eighth, Esteban Ocon in ninth, and finally rounding out the top 10, it was the American team, Haas F1 team, Kevin Magnussen scoring 1 point in Miami, and that was how it went in Miami, with Max Verstappen also getting the fastest lap of 129.708.
Yeah, it was a lot more exciting than last year's race. We'll just say that.
No question.
No doubt about it. It definitely a big factor was the high degradation from the track being resurfaced. It was absolutely a tough race out there for tire management, and those cars that were harder on their tires, namely Ferrari, really struggled.
Quit with all that, all right? We put in a good fight with a Haas at the very beginning and eventually fought our way up to whatever place we finished. If it's not first, I don't care.
So you've not cared all season then?
Yeah, exactly.
I have not. I don't know why I'm doing this Formula One podcast
Ferrari
with you guys. I don't know why I'm doing this with you guys. I don't care anymore. We aren't winning. I don't care.
He doesn't even like the sport. He's actually just here for NASCAR talk now. All he's gonna do is say a NASCAR, and then we're just gonna have to deal with that.
But
Ferrari, please start getting first places so we can have our host back.
But I enjoyed this race. Like, I started off with this race, I was stuck in traffic coming home from Auburn on Sunday. So yeah, we do not advise on SMOP listening to F1 live action while driving. That is not something that we could recommend. But I remember listening to it a little bit. It was kind of weird listening to it.
We advise you to drive hands-free.
No. But yeah, it was a good race. I mean, it was a lot more interesting than last year. I think with the track changes they did were really helpful, especially with regrading the pavement. I think that led for a lot of stuff. I mean, Max Verstappen only did a one stop. Like, he stopped at the very end. Checo passed and he passed right back behind him. So that was really interesting to see Red Bull kind of go with that strategy of Max. Since yes, he did start on the hard tire in ninth, but he was just flying through the field. So that was really cool to see, just the way the Red Bull was just able to catch up that quickly and hold those tires on.
And what was impressive to me was not only the tire management, but the pace it had while it was managing the tires. Like, while Max was on a tire management, or at least they told him to manage his tires, he caught and overtook George Russell with relatively little difficulty. It was just very impressive to see that car hold its pace and hold its tires and improve as the race went on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just the way he was just able to do it. And then Checo, I mean, if you heard the radio message where Checo's like, is he struggling right when after Max passed him, like with 2 or 3 laps to go? I thought that was kind of funny.
They said, is he struggling? And then he sets the fastest lap. That's what it was. Just quite a funny moment.
And it's not even like Max Verstappen really got ahead because of politics. He just took that car to the absolute limit, as far as I could tell.
And
Just
he had
got
him.
past Carlos.
He was on a much better strategy than Perez. Perez is, well, I guess much better strategy in the long run. Perez was trying to get ahead and stay ahead since he was up at the front of the field.
And they allowed them to race, so that was good. Like, I really enjoyed that. Like, when it was just those two, they were not like, Sergio, give the position back to Max, because they know, Red Bull knows how close this gap is. They know how close it is. Let me try to see pull up on my iPad the standings right now. So Max is now ahead of Checo by 14 points at 119. Checo is in second with 105. Fernando's in third with 75. Lewis is in fourth with 56. Carlos 44 for Ferrari. George 40 with Mercedes, and then Charles Leclerc was the bottom of the big three with 34 points.
Oof.
Lance Stroll's knocking on that door too. He's 7 points. So yeah, the fact that they know how close it is. They can't show favoritism right now. Yes, Max is the number one. Yes, we've blown this out of proportion on the show some, but just the way that they're just not showing favoritism to Max that was had in the past couple of years. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I totally follow you. What's interesting too about it is that, I mean, if they wanted to make a very clear championship winner early in the season, then we would have seen Team Wars. Because, I mean, frankly, we know Max is going to win it, but Red Bull knows that it would be unsporting of them to hold back Perez in favor of Verstappen.
Plus,
Yeah,
Red Bull knows they're going to have the constructors pretty much locked up by week 10. It feels like, so they're not that worried about the drivers' fight. They already know they have the constructors locked up.
I mean, yeah, the constructor standings right now have Red Bull in first by 224 points. That's how many Red Bull has. And second still is Aston Martin, 102. So Red Bull is 122 points ahead of the now green Red Bull. So, and then Mercedes in third, Ferrari in fourth, and then hold on, let me math real quick. About a 64-point difference between Ferrari and McLaren right now.
And that's going to be a heck of a fight between the boys in green Mercedes and the boys in red Ferrari. Ferrari can string up some better race results. I heavily suspect them to jump into third place.
You know,
maybe
Mercedes
even by
is
next week.
black, right?
What?
Yeah, the Mercedes is
Black.
like, yeah.
Well, no. Well, their team color is green. All right. They got that teal thing going on. You know.
Pretty
what
sure
I mean?
the Mercedes logo is silver.
That's the
son.
turquoise from Petronas.
That is green. That is green. I know you can't see it because the beach has swallowed my phone, but that is green. Tell me I'm lying.
I mean, but what Ben was saying at the start, it was definitely better than last year. I could definitely see the changes. They had real water in the marina, so.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
They weren't real boats either. This time
there was actual water, though.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, there was.
No, it looked like that because they flattened the bottom of the boats.
They put liquid water in there, I thought.
Nope.
Stop hating, man. You know that was real water.
Not real water. Look it up.
Get out of here, Ben.
Look it up. It's not real. And then they
what are you telling me now? They're gonna have fake casinos there in Las Vegas? You telling me that, Ben, too?
No, but they're seats. You can't have boats that are sold as tickets.
You're telling me those were fake football jerseys in the cool down room, Ben? Come on.
I mean, were they real football jerseys?
I don't know. I do not.
Definitely not seaworthy boats. That's all I'll say.
You're just a hater.
You can't dig a
hater.
deep enough. Yeah.
Hater.
The hater aid. As
Hater.
You can't dig a pool deep enough for a yacht inside of a parking lot. That doesn't work. You can't have real water there because it's a parking lot.
Hater.
It's just not real water. I'm not a hater. I'm just stating facts, man. It's totally fake water.
Is this the most divisive thing? Is this the most divisive we've been on this podcast?
I really think so because y'all are too. What?
I swear I thought he had his thing. Like I thought it was like real water.
Was it real water?
I don't know. Let us know in the chat if you think it was.
Yeah, let's get the chat going on this.
Yeah,
Is it real water or not? No,
I do not have the screen space available to look at the chat. So yeah.
All right. I think we should just move on. I think we've gotten this one messed up. But our next topic we head for discussion. We don't have any commercials right now. That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
We can just roll right into the content. So the next topic was Daniel Ricciardo in AlphaTauri. Now, if you do not remember, Daniel Ricciardo does not have a seat this year, but he is Red Bull's what we call that reserve driver, I think.
Yes.
Yes, reserve driver. And there have been some links recently because the two drivers who currently do not still have any points are Logan Sargent and Nick DeVries. Both do not have any points, and that's led some people at AlphaTauri to question some things. Even the idea of it circulating in the media that Daniel Ricciardo could just walk over to the sister team AlphaTauri if Nick DeVries does not pick this up. But nonetheless, that has been denied by Helmut Marko. According to Nate Saunders of ESPN, he is given there were multiple reports coming out that Ricciardo visited AlphaTauri's headquarters in Italy this week for a seat fitting, adding that Red Bull Motorsport advisor Helmut Marko is giving DeVries until the Spanish Grand Prix to improve to his performances, but that was chosen not to be true. Sources have told ESPN. But I mean, we can use this to talk about Nick DeVries too. I mean, but for him being in he scored points in his only race last year. His F1 debut, he scored 2 points in a Williams, which Nicholas Latifi did not do up until that point either. So it's just been kind of a disappointment. I mean, you see what Yuki Tsunoda's actually done semi-decent with the car this year. He's put in some good results. He's been top 10, 11, like every single race, it feels like.
Yeah, that's because Yuki's making the best out of a bad car, and Nick is at a significant disadvantage being in such a bad car in his first season. And honestly, I was thinking about this. I did predict this about 3 weeks ago, I think it was.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
I said, hey, I talked on the podcast. It was our second to last episode that we did before going to YouTube. But I remember saying, like, if DeVries doesn't perform, then you're looking at Ricciardo taking that seat. You know, he's made a ton of mistakes, and I think more than anybody, Helmut Marko is going to be the impatient one. I think Franz Tost really doesn't want to get rid of him. I think he wants to give him a chance, but you know, there's a lot that could happen potentially with that, and I would love to see Ricciardo, but it's probably going to be like Liam Lawson, the guy who's the AlphaTauri junior driver, Red Bull junior driver in Super Formula right now. He's looking good. He won his debut in Super Formula.
But my thing is like, would even throw that aside, but Liam Lawson, like, would Ricciardo's ego let him go to AlphaTauri? That's the thing last year. It was like talking to him, like Ricciardo to Williams, Ricciardo to Haas when they had an empty seat. Like, will his ego kind of let him do that? Because he is one of the faces of Formula One, whether you like it or not. Just the personality he has is so important to the brand. I mean, you're definitely going to see a lack of that this year on Drive to Survive when he's not going to be on there that much.
Oh no, my Drive to Survive time is suffering. I didn't even complete the last season, but
Ben, not a real fan, confirmed.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of Formula One, not Netflix.
Ben does not know Wheel, confirmed.
I'm a fan of Formula One, not Netflix. But that's not an opinion about Netflix as a whole, just that documentary itself. I just do not find to be very accurate. It's lots of fun, but it's not, an authentic source. But yeah, I mean, if Daniel wanted to do that, he'd be taking a major step back again. Even worse than McLaren. That AlphaTauri car is and has been for the entire course of the season. McLaren's a solid 6th place right now and trying to or 5th place. Yes,
they're tied with Alpine.
What?
They're tied with Alpine. Sorry, continue.
They're tied with Alpine. Okay, yeah, but McLaren's on a downturn, so is Alpine. It's honestly a race on who can screw up less more than who can do the right things more. But that AlphaTauri is worse than both of those teams, and so going to AlphaTauri for a short term wouldn't look really good for his career at all. If he gets beaten by Yuki, it's over. Like, you don't get another chance after that.
Yeah, especially with Yuki just being in such a year, because Nick has a multiple-year contract. This is Yuki's last year. He's got to prove something. No, what do you think about? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, if Ricciardo had Yuki as a teammate, then getting beaten by Yuki, who's been performing better than DeVries, would absolutely destroy his reputation.
This is something I'm going to throw in about Nick DeVries before I get into Daniel Ricciardo. DeVries is 27 years old. He is somebody that is not going to get any younger. I know he's a rookie, but if you've been on the earth 27 years and you're in a top F1 or a top motorsport, people expect you to be ridiculously good. And Nick DeVries has not shown that off, minus the one race in Monza where he kind of shocked the world. And bringing in a
Yeah.
guy like Daniel Ricciardo, even if he doesn't really compete on the level that people think he does, and he'll take a shot in the arm to his credibility, obviously going from these high echelon teams like McLaren and Red Bull to back to AlphaTauri. But at the end of the day, he can talk, and that's going to be the thing that doesn't hurt his career and his character as much, is the fact that he can talk and he can be a marketable face inside not only the world of F1 but I believe multimedia as a whole. And if he goes to AlphaTauri, the only thing that's going to give him is more chances to talk and smile on TV, which is what he desperately needs to stay even more relevant. However you say that, folks. Y'all know what I meant to say. Relevant. However it's pronounced. Even more relevant than he already is.
I mean, true, that'd be a real tester. I mean, like again, like just the ego. Like you've won in Monaco with Red Bull, and then going to their sister team. That's won like what, one race in the past 10 years, but that was Pierre.
Yeah,
Am I
one
correct?
driver.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one
that's
driver. So it's not a race winning car, which is like, I think that's been his whole model this whole time. Like he wants to be somewhere where he can win. I mean, he
yeah, that
won a
was
Mc,
the
he won a
point
McLaren.
of McLaren. Yeah, that was the whole reason he did. And he thought that it would pay off for him in the long term because at the time it seemed like McLaren was in an upswing. But
Hmm.
the past two cars that he drove for McLaren were not good. And the third car is just as bad. So I think he would have continued to struggle, you know.
Hmm. I agree with that. All right, let's just go ahead and move on into our next topic. It is the race weekend in Imola, the Formula One Qatar Airways Gran Premio del Made in Italy de Emilia Romagna 2023. That's it.
Grand Prix.
The whole name. That is, no, they don't have a Grand Prix on this. I guess Grand Prix though,
Well,
but it's weird.
It's a race. It's not a Grand Prix.
we're gonna call this Imola for simplicity's sake.
Yes, of course. Imola. So the Imola track is a 4.909 kilometer track per lap, 63 laps, with a race distance of 300.049 kilometers. Lap record is held by Mr. Sir Lewis Hamilton, 1:15.484. There are 15 turns and only one DRS zone that is right coming down the main straight. Oh, sorry, there's 19 turns. Sorry, there's a long DRS zone coming from turn 19 all the way to turn one across the finish line. So um, only one DRS zone here. And yeah, let's get some thoughts on the race for this weekend. For the circuit talk.
Yeah, so I mean, Imola's always been an exciting track. There's a lot of good opportunities for overtaking. Flashback to Max and Lewis last year battling it out. Or not last year, 2 years ago. And then Max and Charles also had a good battle last year. That was kind of when we started seeing Red Bull go up in its dominance. Highlights. That DRS zone is going to be interesting because you have to get a really good exit, like always, to get a boost from the DRS that you need. I'm excited. I
Mm.
love this race.
I think a lot of people are going to be excited for this one. Going back to one of Formula One's prime markets there in Italy. Um, it's also, as you said, been a beautiful, beautiful racetrack that tons of people love to go to.
I mean,
It
it
was a
looks
good
like
race last year. Wasn't this the one where Charles spun out into the wall, went from third to sixth?
yes.
Yes, okay, I do remember that one. Yes. This was kind of like the showing where like Red Bull showed they were really going to start pushing Ferrari more, because then remember Max wins in Miami, and then they get to Imola where Charles is running mainly in third most of that race, and then just last couple corners kind of slips and turns into that wall.
Mm-hmm. That was insane. I remember that.
Yeah, that was a crazy race last year. Um, knowing this track, there's top speed. I don't know. It seems to be. It's one of the. It's a shorter track for sure compared to some of the ones we have now. You can see that from
Yeah.
the 115 lap time.
That comes in the 115s.
And
Yeah.
the higher number of laps, like it's 63 compared to like last week was 57. So it's going to be an interesting track.
It'll definitely be more fast paced, and like there's going to be a lot of chances to overtake. I mean, you look at turn 14, 15, and turn 1 and 2, and that's where I believe Max and Lewis came together as Max was exiting the pits. That was a very, you know what? It was Lewis exiting the pits. But we've had a lot of good action here. Michael Schumacher had some legendary drives there. You know, turn 7's always fun to do in F122. If y'all remember that little hair, or I guess it's a horseshoe. It's a good track. It's just a great track.
It's going to have an electric atmosphere. And I'm very interested to look at the, oh God, what is it called? TV ratings after this, because I don't know if y'all knew this. But Miami this past weekend was the third most watched Grand Prix in the United States. First is a 2005 pre-taped Monaco. Then it was Miami last year. Then it's been
pre-taped.
Pre-taped. Yeah. And
means they recorded it and then distributed it out when it wasn't live, and then they do reruns of it. So it just runs up ratings for a very long time.
This was also back in when ESPN would throw anything on at any given time.
Yes, I missed that.
I was about to say, I'm very interested to see if the ratings grow any after so many people watch Miami. I think the number was 2.325 million. Very interested to see if the number grows or stays the same from this point in the season last year on an American basis.
I mean, I'm not a guy who really thinks about TV ratings, but what I'm here to see is a straight up fight between Max and Perez, because so far we really haven't had it. Last week, Max beat Perez with an arm tied around his back and starting in 9th place. But, I'd love to see a bit of the advantage swinging more towards Perez.
Then cut out.
Oh God. Ben.
All right, let's just go ahead and go towards our predictions for Sunday, I guess, if Ben's cutting out some. All right, Noah, let's start with qualifying. Who do you think is going to take pole?
I think yours and mine is going to be the exact same, because for once in my life I want to pick a winner, and I'm going to go with Max Verstappen.
You're picking against the Ferrari?
Yeah, no, I usually do not. I usually do not, but sometimes you got to know when to pick a winner.
Oh, that's weird. Wow, Ben.
Gosh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It's all good. I'm going to go with Max too, even though I do think Charles is going to be okay. I think he's going to have a decent result this weekend, but I think Max is going to take it. Ben, what do you think? Ben?
I'll pick for Ben since his internet has decided to cut out. I think Ben is going to say that Logan Sargent is going to take qualifying this weekend.
I think that's what Ben would say. Yeah. No, a crazy prediction for this weekend.
Crazy prediction. It's got to happen once. Give me Taylor Swift in Imola. That seems like wine country in Italy. I think Taylor Swift.
You're just gonna keep predicting that till it happens, aren't you?
I am, because I want it to happen. Because I know internet will explode and F1's ratings will go up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I mean, hey, my prediction is for the season prediction: all 20 races finish Miami. So,
yep,
all good to that. Crazy prediction for me. I think double points for McLaren. Why not? Let's get crazy. Double points for McLaren.
Okay.
All right, Ben, quick.
My crazy prediction: a Ferrari finishes 9th place.
Ooh. 9th place or lower, or just straight 9th?
9th place or lower.
You were wrong about the Logan Sargent prediction. Now you're going to be wrong
about
about
he did
that.
Pretty bad.
All right, Ben, top three.
Yeah,
this
top
weekend.
three. We go Verstappen, Perez, and Alonso, just like last week.
Verstappen, Perez, Ver per Allo, Ver per Allo. Is that what it is?
Yeah, Verper Allo.
Nice. All right, Noah.
You folks are forgetting one thing. It's a home
What are we
race.
forgetting? Oh boy.
It's a home race, folks.
Those-
Give
No.
me Perez in third, Max Verstappen in second, and give me Charles Leclerc in first place on that podium step, boys.
All right. Ready?
Ah.
Ready? Here we go.
All right, hit me.
Perez P3. Leclerc P2, Verstappen P1. I think Ferrari's gonna get one on that. I think that's the most likely to happen because we might see some angry Italians on Sunday if a Ferrari does not perform to their liking, which to them probably would be at least a podium.
Yeah.
And there are no
Y'all-
rational Ferrari
Y'all
fans.
really do need a podium. I hope that Fernando lets you through for a pity podium because it's not going to hurt their fight with Mercedes at all.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, that is gonna do it for this episode of SMOP. We'll fix some stuff. We'll get it a little bit of a longer episode next week when we come back. It's another race recap, but we appreciate you guys dealing with us and the bugs this week. We'll hope to be back better than ever next week. If you need to follow us, information's on the bottom of your screen. We'll put this up on the podcast platforms later. But for Ben McClurkin, Noah Phillips, I'm Greg Splittingberg. This has been Smooth Operators on Weagle 91.1 FM. Have a great Mother's Day, everyone. Say happy Mother's Day if you haven't already, and War Eagle.
War Eagle.